let's go.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, yo.
Hi.
Nice to have our visitors here. So my name is Trompie van der Berg from Trompie van der Berg Photography. I'll be hosting tonight. We're just going to quickly go around the room and introduce who we're going to have with us. Lood Goosen, man that needs no introduction. Say hello, Lood.
Oh, hello.
Maybe there. And then we have Carla, Niemand.
Hi.
And then Peter and Monique Bosman with their professional setup.
Hi, everybody.
Guys, so yes, tonight we're going to have a nice informal roundtable session where we're going to talk about reception lighting, something that I know a lot of wedding photographers struggle with, especially when it comes to thatch roofs and high ceilings and all those type of things. And then as a second part of the discussion, we're also going to talk about night portraits. So those nice night portraits that we do at the end of a session, that should make part of your package and your portfolio. So yes, let's kick it off. I do want you guys watching to please post your questions. We'll try and answer them. So please feel free to engage, guys. We want this nice and informal, so we can all learn from each other and enjoy it. So let's start with the Bosmans. So guys, when you walk into a reception hall, what is your thought process? What do you look for first when you walk in there? What do you look at, and what is your go-to setup for a few scenarios?
So we try and keep it as minimalistic as possible so that we're not too much in the way. The first thing that we look at is where's the ceiling and where there's any draping that we could possibly bounce off from. So our go-to setup is probably at most 280-200s on a light stand with a bracket, bouncing off anything that could possibly give me as much light. Trompie, if you can, I've got a picture that you can use as an example, that I can take you guys through it. Did you see
Okay,
it?
your screen is up.
Okay. Can you see it?
No, there we go. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the first thing I look at when I walk into a venue for this, for example, this, I've got beautiful draping coming from the ceiling over here. So the first thing I look at is where's the spot that I'm not going to be in the way of anybody, anyway. I'm not going to trip over anything. I'm not going to be in anybody's way. And as you can see, oops, let me scroll back up. As you can see over there, I've got 180, 200 bouncing off on this side and 180, 200 bouncing off on that side. And it basically gives me enough light to focus on the couple that's in the middle over there, the MC that's over here, and the speaker. And then I can basically just rotate that head over there to either bounce backwards to photograph any reactions on this side or on this side, or majority just bouncing off straight this way so that I can get a beautiful full on all the guests on either side of the venue. So that's the first thing that comes to mind when I walk into a venue is where's the spot that what's the best spot that I could use to bounce my flash off from. The second thing is, of course, everybody dreads it. It's the dreaded high ceiling. If you have a high ceiling, what the venue usually does is that they have beautiful draping at least hanging lower, and then as you can see over here, there's usually like a little sliver of draping that you can possibly bounce off from, and that's what we use. We try and see where is the spot that we can use that we can possibly bounce off from. Is it a wall? Is it a sliver of draping that we could possibly use? And if it's not anything, then we use backlit. Then we backlight everything, and then we just use either LED to fill from the front, or we use something that we can actually reflect off from. So that's the thought process when we walk into a venue off the
Okay.
bat. And
So
we
after,
have never been there, then we of course check the place out from the get-go.
okay. Just bring that slide up again, please.
Sure.
So don't close it. I'll close it my side. I just want to ask you a question about that while we're on it.
Okay. Let me just open it up again. I think I closed it.
We've got a lot of fans here for Technique Studio. Guys.
Thanks, guys. Okay, I'm just having some trouble opening it up. What is it?
While we wait for that, Lood, same question. What is your thought process when you walk in?
Well, it's pretty much the same as deciding what type of shot you want to do when you do the couple photos. You want to decide if you want to use hard light, if you want to use soft light. More or less what you want your shots to look like, and based on that, then I will walk around the venue and I would also look for space where your lights is going to be out of the way. Of course, there's a lot of guests running around, and hello, Yella. Nee, papa is besig. Nee, maar dis van hom. Papa. Ek my chocolate gebruik. Obviously, there's as the party progresses, there's always guests that have a little bit too much to drink and stuff, and obviously you don't want people to knock over your lights and stuff like that. So the corners generally works well for me. I've got more or less a system that I normally use, depending on the type of venue and so on. But I would use 3 lights and use like a triangular type of shape. So it doesn't matter where you're standing. The point of focus is if you're standing in the middle of it, there will be light coming from different sides. So the triangular setup kind of works well for me. I have used 4 lights in the past, where you kind of just stick them in the corners and so on. But then afterward, when you're busy editing, it looks like you're watching a rugby game. The shadows are just all over the place. So I think the most important thing for me, I don't really mind about the ceiling being too high or being thatch roof and stuff like that. The thing that matters most to me is, do I want to use hard light or would I rather go kind of with a softer approach and so on? So depends what you want out of your shot.
Okay, Carla, and you?
I would say I'm quite a mixture between Monique and Lood. So I also just look at my reception. Obviously, with a lot of receptions having either thatch roof or like high ceilings, I usually just look for a wall to bounce off of. So I shoot with the TT685. I only shoot with these 2. And I use a 2 light setup. So I'll put one on the left side and one on the right side. Sometimes when you do have thatch roofs, I usually just pull up my little bounce card, tilt my light a little bit, and then it bounces light evenly all over your subjects. So that's usually how I work it. And then obviously, if there's a little bit of draping in the reception area, that helps me a lot. Usually I would chat to my clients before the wedding and I will advise them on decor. So I usually tell them a lot of candles help if your venue is very dark. You don't have to go all out, but you can. And fairy lights also add a little bit more to your venue. So I think ambient light also adds to my photos.
But you probably shoot with a shallow depth of field as well and with fast lenses.
Yes, so I shoot.
So you get away with the speed lights.
Yes, I shoot with one lens only. It's the 1655 from Fuji, and it's a nice all-rounder lens. So you don't have to change lenses that often at a wedding. You can shoot your portraits, you can shoot your couple session with it, as well as your reception, because it's got a nice f-stop to it.
Okay, so guys, from my side, when I walk into a venue, the first thing I look at is where everyone's positioned. So where's the groom table? yeah, I hate it when the guy that makes a speech is at this opposite side of the room. That's always a problem. I hate that. But my go-to setup, guys, is I keep it simple. So for me, reception photography is documentary photography. So I'm not looking to shoot something that's gonna go into a magazine and blow everyone away. For me, the way I handle it, it is simply documentary photography. So if I can get a good exposure, good focus on my clients, and I can just focus on the moments and capturing that. That is my philosophy for that type of lighting. And in terms of lighting, I use the 8600. So what I do is, guys, I go and plonk my 8600 in the middle of the dance floor, and I bounce it so it shoots up, and I'm on TTL, and I just walk around and I just fill that whole place with light. I do kill all of the ambient, but again, my style of photography is documentary.
Okay.
Which when I'm on TTL, I can basically walk around and shoot any direction, and I can get a good exposure. And then, yeah, obviously, thatch roof. When I'm shooting thatch roof, I do direct lighting. So I'll put the biggest umbrella I have, and I'll just throw it in the general direction of wherever I'm shooting into. Again, you're never going to get great photos under a thatch roof. It's horrible. But yeah, that's the thought process. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. So this is just some of the images. So this is what I'm looking for, guys. I'm looking for good exposures. I'm looking for. Oh, now I'm messing around here. Hang on. Let me just go back. So with the light being stationed in the middle of the dance floor, it allows me to just do my thing. Where is it gone now? Sorry. Technical difficulties. Where is it now? Sorry, guys.
I see your smug mug.
Yeah, I operate on smug mug.
Trompie, can I ask something?
Sorry?
Can I ask something?
Yes.
If you're only using the 8600 during the reception time and so on, what type of light shaper would you put on it?
So what I'd normally do is I'd put on my biggest softbox, and I'll just bounce that into the light, because that creates nice soft light and it fills the entire place. If the ceiling's too low, I just use a bare flash. I just use it as it is. I leave the little reflector dish on, and I just bounce. And then, like I say, for thatch roof, it's just point and shoot. It's horrible. Okay. I hate it, but it gives me a good exposure. So I think then, guys, what is the in terms of I know with shooting under thatch roof, color cast is a problem. What do you guys do for that? You get a horrible yellow color.
So I change my white balance in camera, so I'll set it a little bit more cooler, and then obviously in post I'll drag down more of the oranges and more of the yellows.
Yeah, yeah. But the same with us as well. I think with the all-round, with our editing and our shooting style, I shoot everything a little bit more cooler, and then I warm it up in post a little bit more. But of course, we try and get everything as perfect as possible. But with the thatch roof, it's just impossible, because that cast that comes down is an orange, yellow, terrible cast. So then I'll just also dial down on my oranges, dial down on my yellows. And that's, of course, if you guys use the calibration sliders, that's where that thing just pops and it just blows your mind. So that's where I will tweak it a little bit more. But I mean, with something like that, there's a color cast coming from the floor, because the floor most likely is wooden floors as well. So there's a yellow bouncing up against the chin. There's yellow coming down on both sides of the face. So yeah, I think we should do something about thatch roofs, guys. I think we should go to other venues.
In South Africa with all the lodges, I think we're not.
I think we should just, if anybody in this round table, if you guys win the lotto, I think we should go all the thatch roofs and just ask them nicely, please.
Let's just drape them all white.
Drape them all. What I also do is, guys, I normally, sometimes the yellow is just so bad that it doesn't look that great. So I sometimes as well give the clients a black and white of the same image, because making it black and white sometimes. So whatever I give them in color, I also give them in black and white if it was really, really, really bad. Because as soon as you make it black and white, it looks great.
We call it art, okay? We call it art.
Listen, has the Bosmans contacted all your fans? Because we just see shout-outs from Technique the whole time. You
We
guys can
share it on our page.
We just
we
thanks,
get it,
guys.
guys. We get it. They're amazing.
Thank you for everyone that was on the live.
Thanks, guys. You guys are making me shy.
Is there any one of you guys that use speed lights for receptions anymore? I know, Carla, you said you do, nah?
Yes, I
Do
use
you guys
2
use it
speed
on
lights.
camera at all, or is that just not?
I don't shoot speed lights on camera at all because I don't get a nice equal balance of light. So I'd rather just pop my flashes onto a stand, have a 2 light setup, and I can move them around as I want, and it spreads out equal light.
Yeah.
Good.
I still sometimes, depending on the venue, I mean, there's look, the venues that we shoot most of the time is smaller venues and so on. And then I will pop up the flash on camera, but I have my 280s, you know, so I'll use the flash on my camera to trigger the 280-200s.
Oh.
But I always try to kind of keep my triangle going, you know, so
Yes.
set up the lights on the side. And then if you have to turn, let's say, it's actually quite useful because the whole room is never going to be evenly lit. So let's say the couple is sitting in the front, and we've set up the 280s to kind of give a good exposure on the main table if you want to do, like, you know, family photos or, you know, speeches or whatever. And then the couple jumps up and they want to go and do the cutting of the cake, you know, but it's stuck there in the corner. Then it's a bit of a mission for me to kind of move the lights around quickly and then have everybody wait for me. So it's a lot easier for me to have the flash on camera and then kind of use that little bit of bounce light that's or the fall of light from the 280s, and just use my on camera flash just for that nice soft flattering full light.
So, Lood, do you use your speed light to trigger the other lights with?
Yes, I do.
So how is the consistency with that? Because that is something that I sometimes struggle with, and that's why I prefer the triggers, because
yeah, look, I also prefer the triggers and so on, but what works well for me is I kind of calculate the distance between myself and the subject. Let's say I'm shooting with a 1655 lens, you're wide open on 2.8, then I will take a couple of test shots just to see, let's say on 1/16 or 1/32 or something like that. And then I'll just keep my distance from the couple. I'll keep that consistent, and then kind of use the zoom of the lens if you want to get a little bit closer, a little bit further away. It works well, but it's, you know, it's still a little bit challenging because you still need to find that time just to get that, you know, just to calculate the distance that you're going to be using more or less during the course of the night. And then if that works well, then I just leave it on and kind of run the rest of the reception like that, but just kind of keep the distance in mind while you do so.
okay.
I have a question there for you, Lood, just to add. So, since you're calculating everything, how do you find the recycling time on all those flashes? Because triggering it from a flash to other flashes, do you find that the recycling time is less than it is with the little trigger, or do you not see any difference in a trigger and it being firing with the flash?
No, it's for me, it's pretty much the same. You know, what I do forget sometimes is after the couple shoot to switch the camera back to switch it off from high speed sync. You know, so then as soon as I start getting misfires, then I realize, listen, I've forgotten to take it off high speed sync.
Hopefully that's not during the entrance.
Say again.
Hopefully that's not during the entrance.
Hopefully not. Yeah. We've had instances in the past where the couple actually walked in a little bit too quick because normally they'll you know, go to the bathroom and just go wash their faces and hands after the couple shoot and so on. And this one time it didn't happen, you know, and I was still busy not setting up the lights. I still had to turn them on. And as I looked at the door, the couple was making their way in, you know, so I just up the eyes and we started shooting. So
That happened to us too before.
yeah.
How high was your exposure slide on Lightroom?
Yeah, the noise reduction. Now, but the recycle time and all of that is more or less the same. I still prefer the trigger. It's especially with the Fuji system, with Canon and all the other brands and so on. The camera has got a nice grip, so it feels balanced with the flash and all that. But with the smaller cameras, it's uncomfortable. You walk around with this massive flash on this small little body thingy. But it works well, especially if you speak to a couple, you can kind of get an idea of what's going to happen during the day. And if you have a program for the day as well, then the cutting of the cake is going to happen at some point. So then it makes sense for me to kind of just put the flash on, use the flash to trigger all the other lights that's been set up, and then just continue through the reception like that.
Yeah. It's a very good point that you made there, because I think having that program and also just educating the clients and how to and what should happen when it's most likely for their benefit as well, but just for you to know, okay, I need this amount of time to have my life change or go from here to there. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think a good point for that as well is to stay in contact and keep eye contact with what's happening with the DJ, because normally stuff revolves around him. When someone's going to have a speech, or it's the first dance, or it's going to be the flowers, so I always make sure that I stay, because it's happened before where, the lights go off and then it's first time, dance time, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have my light. So yeah, I would say especially for low light and reception work, it's important to stay on top of the timeline, like Lood said, and know what's coming next so you can be prepared.
Yeah.
Carla, we've got a little question there for you.
So I use the 16 to 55 from Fujinon. So if you compare it to a Canon, it's the 24 to 70 lens.
Brilliant. And then, guys, let's talk about, because I know that's a big thing for reception work as well, is ISOs. I know a lot of photographers starting out, they get taught that ISO is from the devil, and it's not. So just from my side, ISO, guys, I will very happily shoot at 4,000 and up. The reason for that is because you put less strain on your lights, they recycle quicker, so and they also use less power. So yeah, where recycle times are at a premium, especially when you're shooting thatch roof, I pump the ISO.
Yeah.
And when I make it black and white, it's artistic.
It's artistic. And we also we Sony shooters, so I mean 4,000 still looks beautiful on a Sony.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, again, when we're talking about the reception and the fact that we use 280s, and Peter usually uses, just to get back on you, Trompie.
Now, when I'm with Monique's second shooter, when I'm not doing video, then I'll just use the V1.
Yeah, so when Peter is using the V1, it's really awesome little Bugatti.
So you don't share your lights, Monique?
No.
It's very selfish. It's very selfish.
No. Then my recycle time goes down, and then no.
And then his shares also go down.
Excuse me?
And then his shares also go down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he uses the V1. What was I on? I totally lost track of it. Anyway, ISO. So we Sony shooters. And anywhere from, I'll pop my ISO if I really have to, up to about 1,000 indoors, and then outdoors I'll crank it up really high. Indoors, just for the recycle time of my flashes, because I have 2 of them running at the same time, and I usually pop them around 16th of a power, 8th of a power, around there, just to not strain them too much. Also depending on the size of the venue. But if you go back to that picture that I referred to earlier on, that's quite a big venue. I think they seat up to 500 guests, but in that photo there was about 180 to 200 guests. So for something like that, I think we to around 1,000 ISO, 800 ISO. But Peter on his side, he will probably crank it up quite high. You'll throw it on a TTL. I think you probably go around 640, 800 around there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the party photos, guys. Is there anything specific you do there? I see Monique's already driving there. What do you do?
Yeah, when he gets excited when it's that time.
Get excited. And I usually wait for I'm supposed to leave at 9 o'clock, but you know why? I'm gonna probably leave at 11 because a few drinks are gonna be flowing. Everybody's got liquid courage, and I want some breakdowns to happen. So I'm definitely gonna stay until then. And yeah, so creative wise, then of course all photographers love it. I then swap with Peter. Can you believe it? I then go use.
Then you go to the speed light.
Then I use the V1.
and then I use the LEDs.
Yeah, then Peter goes LED. So this is our new favorite little tool. I don't know if you guys know.
Oh, it's beautiful. I've been wanting one of those. That's great.
Yeah.
What's the power like on that, Peter? Is it usable?
It's awesome. I use it for video as well. Like just to pop it on someone, or even if I want to focus on the MC during the speeches or something, I'd pop it on the MC, and it's on a monopod, so I'm not taking up a lot of space, and it gives me just enough light that I'm not overpowered, so it's not overexposed as well, and I don't have to pop my ISO to crazy levels.
Okay, we've got to do a bit of brand punting here, so just give us the name of that thing.
So this is the Godox M1. Oh shit, is it on? Sorry. This is the Godox M1. This little McGafty is definitely something to invest in if you ever want to go and be a little bit more creative with your photography work. Trompie, if you don't mind sharing the screen, I can show you a few photos. Can you see my screen?
It's up, yes.
Okay. So, for example, something like this. These are two shots directly after each other, but because the M1 was on a party feature, or I'm not too sure which feature, what it's called, pulsating light or something, it pops out different colors of light every 3 to 5 seconds, and it rotates the colors. So it allows you to get really creative with your work. And of course, with something like this, I'm going to stop sharing the screen over here, Trompie.
Okay.
So it allows you to be creative. So what we then do is we have this little setup. Of course, this is also from Godox. This is because the M1 is of course magnetic in front. We've got a 3-piece setup. So that's the grid. This is the CTO gel, CTO, and then some diffusion as well. And then this just popped in front like that, and you're good to go. And I literally.
And it's all magnetic.
Yeah, so this is all magnetic.
Great.
Yeah. And yeah, you just pop that on like that, and then this is literally firing directly at the subject. I have it at a very slow shutter, so my shutter is probably something around 1.2 seconds.
Just explain that for our viewers, why the slow shutter.
Oh, so the slow shutter is to play around with the light a little bit more. So it allows you, if you go back to that other, you can share my screen again, and I can. So it allows you to create these light streaks in the background. So these lights that you can see, the orange lights, are all from either fairy lights or maybe a candle on the table. But it allows you to slow down whatever's happening, yet the flash that comes from, the light that comes from flash that's directly at you freezes everything for that 1.3 seconds. And then
it freezes the subject.
It freezes the subject, yeah. And then of course it allows you to capture everything as it happens because your flash is directly at the subject. So for that 1.3 seconds, everything is dead still, and I physically move my camera. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Hang on. bring it up again.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Just go back to your. There was one with the shoe game. Just bring up that image quickly. I just want to check something. There was a shoe game one I saw.
The classic, the one.
The classic shoe game that when it's that time of the evening.
Here we go.
What? I just wanted to know what light did you use for the primary light on them, because it's beautiful soft light that.
That was actually the DJ actually had a smoke machine, and if you see at the back, it's a beautiful. It's like a haze almost. So we just used that, and we popped the 8200 at the back facing the client, and then in the front there was a white wall, and we bounced another 8200 to flash some light on the client. So nice soft light.
Thank you. Right, now from the Bosman.
I want to ask you something. Sorry, Monique. That other photo where the guys are dancing with the different colors and so on. Did you use rear curtain flash where the shutter kind of closes at the end, or it flashes at the end, or did you use front curtain, just the normal flash?
No, this is just a normal flash. I can just bring it up quickly again. Sorry. There we go. This is just normal flash. No rear curtain, just front curtain flash. But what I do is I use the grid to concentrate that flash on the subject so that it doesn't spread out too much, and then only what's in the middle of my frame is frozen. So if I feel like there's too much, my grid is not giving me enough focus on the subject, I'll even switch over to my snood to give me even more directional light towards the middle over here, because that's where I want everything to be frozen, whatever's happening over here in the middle.
Wonderful.
Nice.
So, Carla, tell us what you do when the smoke machine comes out.
So I can share my screen with you quickly.
Because we all know when you light and the smoke comes out, it can present a problem.
Yes, it depends obviously on what. It depends on what smoke machine your client has gotten in. So when I have my meetings with my clients, I usually ask them, what are you bringing to your reception? Are you bringing cold sparkles? Are you bringing a normal fog machine? Do you have actually a company that brings in low-lying fog? Because if it's
explain that a little bit, Carla.
So if you have if you have a normal smoke machine and you try and put a flash behind your couple, the smoke is just going to go up and everything's going to be white and smoky and foggy. Where you have the low-lying fog, it works with dry ice. So the fog actually stays on the ground. And as the couple moves, it tends to go up a little bit, but it stays actually down. So when a couple brings in low-lying fog, I'll put the flash behind them and I'll have a flash in the front and I'll basically just light my couple as is. As you can see, my ISO on that shot was quite high, but I'm very comfortable in shooting at a high ISO. And then, yeah, that's basically what I do with my reception shots is I just put a light everywhere and I play.
Great. And Lood?
I do more or less the same, but normally when there's normal smoke machine and so on, then I've taken one of my old one of my smaller stands and I've just taken the feet off, and then I will mount my flash. I've also got the V1, so I'll put the V1 on top, and then tilt it down slightly, put the trigger on my camera, and then kind of walk around with the flash a lot higher. So
that's brilliant. I love it.
It's so uncomfortable, but I'm telling you, especially with things like metric dances and stuff like that, and if you then kind of get the camera a little bit higher up as well, then you get all these, these awesome kind of wide, well-exposed shots, and the light fall is so amazing when you do it like that, So, but fog in general is I love using it. Can we share the screen quickly?
Please, yeah.
Okay. This is more or less what I've done with this one as well. This is also dry ice at the bottom, and then I've got the two set up behind the couple, so there's no diffusion on it or so. And I've closed the temperature down, I think, to about 7.1 or so, or if 9, it might have been, I can't remember. Just to kind of get that sparkle effect, so the starlight.
Yeah.
And then I had that, I was walking around with my sticky thingy.
The composition is amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing, Lood.
Thanks, man.
Brilliant. Mosa's just also joined us. Mosa, just unmute yourself.
Hey,
Hey.
Welcome.
Hi.
hey
Sure.
Mosa.
Hi, guys.
How's it?
Nice to have you with us. So, Mosa, we're gonna look at your to your knowledge. So, in terms of reception lighting, give us a quick little nugget that we can give to our clients in terms of lighting up the reception hall.
I would normally use the AD 100. It doesn't mount on a camera, so I would basically bounce it up, but standing towards the side. Standing on the side of the clients with the light, making sure that the light bounces from the side where I'm shooting from. Because if any light is bouncing from the other side, it means that there will be darkness on the side of the clients. So basically, in the reception, I move around with the light that is on my side, on the side of the camera, to make sure that.
Do you have it on a stand, Mosa?
Faces. I'm having a.
Do you have it on a stand next to you?
On the stand, and then sometimes with an assistant moving around with me, and then sometimes it's just in my hand.
Okay, brilliant. Guys, I think let's quickly have a look here. Guys, please, if there's any questions, please let us have it. I know this is a problem. And then let's quickly talk about sparklers. Who's gonna take that one? The sparkler shot on the dance floor or walking out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Before you go on, if you don't mind, can I just share one thing?
Of course.
Let me go back here. I know everybody was talking about dry ice, but for all the photographers out there that are just starting out and you are thrown in the dark with, oh my goodness, what do I do? I don't want everybody to be daunted by smoke. Smoke can be your friend, especially now in COVID when you can actually wear a mask over your face and protect yourself from it. But for everybody out there, smoke can definitely be your friend, and you can use it to your advantage as well. This was just a normal, I think, an AD placed at the back with a CTO gel. So the orange that you see is just from the gel. And then these light beams that are coming through here, it's just from people dancing. So they're shooting in between. So I think with smoke, it's more that you're going to have to be creative and allow the smoke to work for you instead of working against you.
Great tip.
And then while I'm on here, can I start with the sparklers? Oh, did I go out?
And what's your thought process when sparklers come into play? What do you think about in terms of your exposure and settings and lighting? What is it that you need to make sure you do to get a good sparkler shot?
Number one is I place the backlight at the back, and that just gives the client a beautiful rim. So I asked Peter to again just take my LC500. It is a LED, and it's shining straight onto the client. And he's my second, so he will be holding my the LED for me, just concentrating on the client. And I mainly focus on exposing for the client, because if I expose for the client properly, a low shutter speed will then allow for my sparklers to show and shine. So I usually just expose for the client, make sure that they expose properly, and then I ask them to just go crazy. I ask them to run, go back and forth, spins and twirls, kisses as much as possible. And of course, we advise clients to always have the longest sparklers and not the short ones. The longer ones. And all the photographers out there, our go-to is a little low torch lighters. If you guys can invest in about a few, have them on hand. Those ones light those sparklers so quickly. You go down that line like a jet. So you ask four people, well, we have four of them, and then we ask four people, hey, would you mind just helping me out? Use two starting at the bottom, two starting at the top. You guys meet in the middle. Within a few seconds, minutes, you guys are all done. All the sparklers are lit. The client's ready to run. So instead of having to wait for everybody to find a lighter or a bonfire or having to fish for something
Or
to
a
light
candle from the venue.
or candle, I think those low torch lighters are the absolute best. Invest in a few and keep them on the go. And then y'all just ask people to assist you guys. Two from the bottom, two from the top, meet in the middle, and disappear.
It's a great tip that Monique, because you're also adding value. You know, when a client see you're ready for that, and you've made provision for that, you've already won the battle. So yeah, that's a great tip.
Yeah.
Mosa, anything to add? Mosa?
With sparkles, I haven't worked with those type of sparkles before. Only the ones that are indoors in a reception venue. Yeah.
All right. Lood and Carla?
I have my screen share. So Monique was talking about the small sparkles and the bigger sparkles. Obviously, yeah, like the bigger sparkles works the best. I just want to show the audience the difference between the bigger sparkles and the smaller sparkles. So this is smaller sparkles. You don't see them as prominently as you would a bigger sparkle. So yes, that's good advice to actually tell your client to get the bigger sparkles and actually invest in that, because as you can see, it doesn't show off as nicely as the bigger sparkles do.
Yeah. They actually burn out quite a lot on the bigger ones.
Just say that again, Lood.
No, the smaller ones burn out so quickly. You know, it's like what we find with the sparkle shots is that you get those really long ones, and then the venue would normally make two congas fires next to the side or whatever, and then we will show everybody where to stand, and then everybody would light their, and everybody will be in position and ready, and then everybody would light their sparkles at the same time, and then just move to their positions, and then we take the shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we share the screen again, Trompie?
Of course.
This is a little bit different, but it's also
that's nice.
Oh boy.
It's a small photo. I couldn't find the high-res one. But what we've done here is we had somebody standing at the back with steel wool in an egg whisk.
Yes.
And then you will light the steel wool. But you need to keep the. I don't have a tripod here, so I took one of my light stands and just slapped it on the light stand. And then just before the end of the exposure, we would have the flash just give a burst of light on the couple, and you would be amazed to see the different effects and all of that you can get from this, because you don't have to swirl it like this. You can swirl it like this. You can swirl it like that. You can even swirl it like towards the couple and have the sparkles kind of come closer to the lens. And as those sparkles kind of come closer, it's like they open up and they get bigger and all of that, So, and this is actually it's a very fun thing to do at right at the end of the night and so on. But you have to be sure that you're not close to trees and dry grass and stuff like that. And maybe have a little canister that we use sometimes for the night shoots. If there's no rain, we will add rain on the umbrella and whatever. So we will always have that kind of handy whenever we do something like this. But the setup is more or less the same that what we would do with the normal sparkles where the people will make an entourage, and wait for the couple to walk through. You have your light at the back, and then obviously I don't have a constant light, so we still use the 80 or the V1 on my stocky. And then the couple will walk through, and and you'll get your shot. My ISO, it's documentary type, like you said a little bit earlier, and so on. And the couples absolutely love that, So it's more about for me. I think it's more about having them have fun than produce that perfect low kind of ISO shot and whatever. You need to kind of capture that moment. It's more about better capturing the moment than missing the shot.
Question here, guys. I'm not a speed light shooter, so I know you've got one, Peter. Maybe you can take this one. Peter, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Awesome. I used to use the V860 Mark II, and I didn't think that there would be such a difference in the way the light spreads. But with the rounded lens, then I bought the V1. The light spreads way more equally, and it's a much better look. It's softer. It does have a difference compared to the square traditional shape.
Just to add to what Peter says, I've got an example here. So this is an 8200 and this is a V1. So you can clearly see what a massive difference in spread that would provide you from if you just had a square head instead of a round head like this. And then of course the main reason why we bought and invested in the V1 is simply because it allowed us to do the quick modifier just with a little just with magnets literally just slipping on instead of having to on my V860 or on my V860 or on my 8200 you have to purchase this little adapter. I don't know if you can see it. You see it? The little adapter. You mount that on like that. And then that will then allow you to use the same modifiers on your flashes.
Oh, that's so clever. Okay.
Yeah.
Godox thought they just share something with us. I'm not sure how that's going to go down with the clients.
Yes.
Put a little clause in there.
Oh, sorry. I've got a question for you, Trompie. What do you feel?
Yes.
How do you feel about like venues that have absolutely nothing to bounce off? You know those glass venues?
Oh
Yeah.
no.
How do you
Guys,
feel?
I go to the umbrellas and I just throw light out there.
Okay.
Again, I'm really not into if you look at my portfolio as well, my reception work is documentary style. As long as I can have a good exposure and in focus clients, that is my aim for reception work. With the dance shots, I'll maybe get a little bit funky, like Monique, but the rest, I just want to get that done. Guys, so is there anything we want to share more about reception? Is there any thoughts? Because then after that we'll move on to the night portraits. Any other nuggets that we can give our clients?
Just with regards to how to light or just being creative with fun things like the garter toss or the bouquet toss and how you can actually make it interesting. If you share my screen, I can show you a shot of how to actually make it interesting. Can you see it?
Yes, it's up. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the first thing over here, there two light setup. There's an LED facing the bride over here, which is the lady in red. And then there's an 80-200 popping light onto the bouquet over here because that's where my main focus is. And just to be creative, instead of just using or just capturing everything as it is, because you know, doing so many weddings a year as a photographer, you need to be excited for something as well, and to experiment and to find new ways of doing things. In that, you allow yourself to provide a better product for your client to also be excited for at the end of the day. So creative lighting such as this, because it is allowing your eye to go directly to that lady, a very, very lucky lady. Hopefully she gets married soon. That bought the bouquet. So yeah, and then also what I wanted to focus on here is how you can use two different types of lighting: a flash that goes up there, and then an LED that's shining on the client over here.
The one thing I learned tonight is I need to work a lot harder to keep up with you guys. Lood and with Monique and everyone, and with Carla and Mosa. I don't work hard enough at the reception. Mosa, have you got any reception photos you want to share with us before we move on? Is there any photos you want to show us?
Yes, Trompie, I don't know if you have on my folder. I don't know if you can be able to access it.
I can try. Let me see. Let's not have a empty chat some more, guys. I just want to bring this up quickly.
Perfect.
Lood, Fatom.
So this Irish guy walks into a bar. No, Monique, you guys are a real inspiration for me, man. It's like, you know, you get to a point where you've got your idols and all that, but I've been following you guys, and yes, man, you've made a world of difference for me. You know, it's like, especially, I mean, I haven't really seen a lot of these reception shots, but yes, man, you guys are making a lot of effort. I have to side with Trompie in this one. You know, normally by that time, just going to get over and done for, you know, and then you know, move on to the fun stuff and whatever. But you guys are really inspiring, you know, with the nausea.
I think we all use you guys as a. I mean, I'm speaking on behalf of Peter, and I am sure Carla can also jump on here. But I mean, we all started somewhere, and I think if we haven't moved by now, then there's something wrong with us. If we don't continue improving every single day and try and find inspiration from everything we see, how are we going to improve and provide a better product? Because like I said, at the end of the day, when you look at the photograph, you're going to be spending the next month in editing these photos. So you better be excited to edit them. You better make sure you're excited to get tackling, because trust me, there's sometimes I look at photos and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to. Let me make it good.
Yeah. Mosa, I'm gonna quickly share some of your photos. You can just talk us through it. Can you see it, Mosa? I've brought it up on the screen.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. Here I was shooting this, and there was just a few people standing up and dancing, and I specifically focused on these two because every time there was a song, they would jump up and dance. And I said, no, I'm gonna make sure that I document their moments there. Yeah. So it was a bridesmaid and a groomsman. So what I was looking at here was the lighting at the back. I didn't want to miss the details of the fairy lights at the back. So I made sure that I can at least put my f-stop at a point where I can blur them a bit and not have them appearing just as they are. They were blue. I wish to have had at least orange or something, but I went with this, and yeah, being blue as they are, I just felt like, okay, they are fine. They are sort of blending with the setup within that side. So my lighting, of course, was in front of the two there. If you can see at the back, it's a bit darker. So my lighting was specifically directed towards them. And this was a flash. It was not a speed light. It was not a smaller flash or a portable flash. It was a 600 watts light. So it was put in the direction in the site where they were standing, because by the time I was using flashes during reception. So I'll just move it to this side. At some point, move it to the other corner if I want to shoot the other people. Let's say maybe run about 3 tables on the other corner. I'll just go and put it that side and focus on that table for that time. And then move it again to the other side, focus on that table, whatever is happening on that side. Yeah.
Let me just bring up your other one as well, Mosa. And there. I really like that.
Wow, cool.
Okay. Yeah, so here I was using the AD 1200.
The AD 1200.
Whoa.
The AD 1200.
Where did you get an AD 200, my man?
I got it from Doris.
The 1200 or the 200?
The 1200.
Whoa.
So yeah, so with it, I could,
Serious gun tower, man.
yeah.
Wanna play with
Yeah, not
the
He wants Bamba.
Yeah, so I could put from a distance, maybe run about maybe 5 meters away or so, or maybe 6. I don't remember very well, in a very big space. So I was using a snoot like this one, which I bought together with 80. So then the snoot comes with some gels within it. You just open, and then I think there's always this red gel there. Yeah, so this is the gel that I was using, and then it has a grid with it, and yeah, this grid sort of balances, softens the light a bit towards the subject, although it's not a lot of softening. Yeah, but then with it being red like that, I decided I'm gonna point towards the 2 who are dancing there. Then I went straight towards only those 2. It's not a vignette. It was just directional light with the snoot, and then focusing specifically on those 2, and then darkening the whole environment on camera. So the shutter went a bit higher there so that it can be dark in the room and still have those lights there at the top. So I was always looking at those lights and looking at that direction, how they're positioned, and trying to structure them together with the couple.
And obviously the grid and the coupled with the snoot will allow you to focus the light only on them and not have it spill everywhere. So yeah, that was great thinking. Great image.
I love the red and the blue.
Right, let's move on to some night portraits, guys. Carla, is that something you do at the end of the evening?
I do. I love it.
Let me bring you up.
But obviously, I work with artificial lighting throughout the day. So even if it's daytime, I'll create something dark because that's my style. So like, for instance, this was a very rainy day. It was pouring. It was just before this photo was taken and it just came down. But here I just decided to put them in a very dark area because the lighting around them, the natural light around them was so moody that I thought, okay, let's just put a light behind them, a soft light on top of them, balance it out a bit, and you create something magical. Yeah, like whatever I do, I play with lighting, and this was late afternoon, just before the sunset. You can actually see it there in the water. It was already very dark, so I just put a light at the front, light at the back.
Okay, what is your lighting setup? What is it that you use for these type of shots? Have you got specific lights that you use?
No, so I still use just my speed lights, no modifiers, just my speed lights, and obviously balancing it out with my settings in camera.
Yeah, okay. Beautiful.
Mosa, we've just got a question there for you from Chandray.
Okay, can you give us any tips on fixing skin tones orange with your lighting setup, please? Can you give us any tips on fixing skin tones orange with your lighting setup?
Yeah, so your image, the color that you use there obviously is going to affect the skin tones. What do you do afterwards to fix that if you have to?
It was to adjust the hues and saturation. I didn't want the skin tones to come too much away from the color that I had showered the couple with. If it's directed towards the image that I took in the reception and then with the red gel on. So I needed the color to be like that, red as it was, because before the image I shot an image which had their skin tones normal as they were, and then while they were busy, I quickly changed the colors. I quickly loaded red onto the snooch and then started to create that image. So I was giving them sort of two options within that dance as they were coming in.
Okay. Carla, back to you. I want to see a few more of your images if we can.
Okay, so I'll start with this one. Usually when I go to my couple session, it was quite light outside. It was a little bit overcast, but the sun was coming around about here. Yeah, it was coming from here. It was late afternoon. There was lovely clouds, and I basically exposed for that because I wanted to get the clouds in my image. I had a light at the back to obviously just create that beautiful rim, and I had a light at the front, but I don't light them directly from the front. I have a second shooter standing around about here, and they're actually just holding my flash here, and it's actually bouncing light off here. So that's how I usually shoot my couple portraits, is I have a flash at the back, and then the flash here at the top of them.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
When just go back to the previous image. Yes. Did you have the flash? Where did you have the flash pointing at the back? What was the distance more or less? Was it pointed at their backs, at their middles, at their heads?
The flash is basically around here, equal to here. And then if I can show you what I do with my flash, it's obviously not standing like this. I tilt it up slightly so that you catch their hair and you throw a nice equal rim all over them. And yeah, that's basically my setup. The same with these ones. I didn't use light at the front. I only used light at the back because there was a lot of natural light actually coming and lighting them in the front. It was just because it was so overcast. There wasn't really sun for me to play with. I had to drastically do something so that we can do a couple session, because after that it just came pouring down with rain. Initially, when you guys said that we have to have a round table, the one thing that I thought about talking about is rain. In the beginning, I was stressed out if it rains because I didn't really know what to do. And then I actually discovered lighting. And I feel that you can create something so beautiful for your couple just by adding a little bit of light and exposing for the area that you're in.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, we'll come to Carla. Carla, this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Lood, you're up, my man.
Yeah, I'm good. I love it.
Yes, that's a lucky shot.
Oh my goodness.
It was pouring, and we didn't have much to shoot. So before we left, I said to the couple, listen, guys, we're going to have to do something here, And we didn't even have
Lood, sorry, Lood, we're just struggling to hear a little bit.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. No, it didn't look like rain that morning when we left. And then, so that's actually my my shoot-through umbrella that they're standing under. And, But I said to the couple, we're going to have to get a couple of shots in the rain, and it was right at the end of the night, so they agreed. And the light setup was more or less the same. So obviously, I didn't have a flash on the camera or in the front. But what I did was I put my flash down. I think it was I can't remember. I can't even remember. It was a small flash. Can't remember which one though. But I just pointed it up into the umbrella and then had the little bit of light spill coming down onto them. Also on ISO. This one was a couple of years ago. Same thing, right at the end. This was around about 12 o'clock New Year's, and it just didn't stop raining that entire day. And same light setup. So over here, I had my stand was standing over here with with the 180 200 in a plastic bag or wrapped in glad wrap or something onto them, and then the I would have liked to have the flash a little bit further behind them, so it doesn't look like they're actually standing on the edge of of afgrond of so nie. It was so wet that I just wanted to get the shot and get out. And then this is kind of nice for me. It's like um, the struggle or the challenge here is I don't know why that is. I think maybe my flash was a little bit too high. But when the flash is too high, you tend to get these kind of lines on the water where the light kind of break away from the couple. So the trick then is to try to get them as centered in that shadowy part as you possibly can. If the light is a little bit lower, then you won't have that. This one was a wedding that we shot last year in Belito, and it was right at the end of the couple shoot. The couple was already in the waves and all of that, so they were already wet. And I said to them, listen, but let's just go rinse yourself off in the pool. And then the bride jumped in the pool. I saw a pool noodle lying around, and we put it under a dress over there. And she started floating, but it was tilted sideways. And then when I got home, I thought, I just want to see what it looks like when we tilt this thing upward. And turned out to be like a very nice shot. Looks like the bride is levitating somewhere.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's so awesome.
Well, this is also a little bit lower, so the other one. But what we've done here is also a one light setup, just hiding behind the bride and the groom, and then we just slosh them with a bucket of water.
Well, you've got adventurous clients.
This was one light shooting up to into the umbrella as well. So all the light spill that's on the couple is coming from the light, the flash at the back. I actually put it right down there, on the ground, so it was just facing up. But what was interesting on this shot for me is like the raindrop seems like it's actually going upward. Look at that.
That's cool.
It's just something so different. Absolutely love shooting in the rain. This one, we had a spray bottle, and I had somebody standing behind the couple, also one light. And, I just had him do this with a spray bottle behind them. Open the shutter for a little bit, and we ended up with that.
Oh, that's so cool.
This is just, adding gels and different color casts and so on. This one was actually quite an interesting setup for me because we had two 8200 set up at the back, one with the orange gel and one with the blue gel. And the funny thing is I actually shot this in black and white. And when I got back home, the wall files tend to revert back to color, and I loved it. It's like it's so different,
It's beautiful.
It's awesome.
This one was at Foxbar, I think it was. Just a one light setup far behind the couple, trying to get, but see the light is a little bit lower and there's no kind of lines crossing over the lake where they're standing. So we just got a perfect reflection and all of that. I normally do this without any diffusion and so on. I kind of like that crispy kind of blue Blue light comes off the flash. You know, when we do. When we're going to shoot. This one was also just, you know, the couple got married at a venue not too far from our house. And there was this off-road track where the kids were like riding around in the afternoon. And that night I said to the couple, listen, guys, I think we should go and try this tunnel thing, you know. And we just had them stand in the tunnel, one light in the back. And, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, that's more or less it. Oh, this is actually just one thing that I want to say. This one, you're not going to win any awards for this thing, but the reason why I've put this one in is at the back, we seldom kind of tend to think to turn the flash around facing away from the couple because we want to get that rim light. But often, you know, you get a total kind of different look when you kind of turn the flash around facing the other way. If there's any behind them, and I was kind of lucky here because that rim light is actually bouncing off the tree behind them.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit of a different kind of look and feel, and you know, just adding to that a little bit. I think, ouch. Sorry, I've got a visitor.
Oh.
Climbing up against my leg. Yeah. So it's you know, it's kind of nice to kind of just kind of face the flash away from the couple at you know, at some point, and then see what you end up with. And then this one was at the same venue than that previous one where with the blue and the red or the orange. I just had the bride stand in front of the window. I've got a vape, so if I want to create a little bit of smoke, then I'll just blow a little bit of vape there, and then just kind of disperse the light. Hey, yeah, we're not. I had a shoot-through umbrella with this one, and very happy with what we got. You know, so just a little bit burst of light, and absolutely love this. I like to keep things simple, you know. Sorry. More enjoyable my work. Yeah, I like keeping things simple. You know, if you, especially with the night shoot and so on, you don't want the couple to stand around waiting and so on. So try to keep it as simple and as effective as possible, and get it done for them so that they can move back to the reception and spend time with the guests.
Thank you, Lood. That's amazing.
Thanks, Trompie.
So what I wanted to just ask you guys before we move on to the next, do you guys charge extra for the night shoot? Is that included in your packages as is?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, me and Lood is then on one side.
No, it's almost 18 of both. No, you know, I think
because the quality of work that I've seen here, you guys need to really start charging more for that. So for me, my top packages include a night shoot. You know, only when they book 12 hours and up. You know, so yeah. Mosa, I'm gonna bring you in a second. I've just got to find your images. Let's go to the Bosmans.
Okay.
Awesome. So I'll start off with a shot over here. My main idea with night shooting, trying to show off what's around the couple as well, instead of just showing off the couple. And I think Lood and Carla does that quite a bit. So yeah, I wanted to show off the lights that come off the background. You know, I wanted to show off the little kids standing over there at the top. And then the couple enjoying some time at the bottom all by themselves. So this is just a 80-200 at the back with a CTO gel. And then again, from the front, I have a LC 500 LED, popping some light on the faces from the front to give them that 3D kind of look. Let me go out here and I can start. It looks kind of like outside because I popped up the exposure. But yeah, this is kind of like just off onto the side. It was a gloomy day, so I wanted to just take some pictures in the rain for the couple as well. except this was actually not rain. This was droplets from the trees over here. So the rain had just passed. And I was like, okay, cool, you guys want to go outside? And they were like, yes. And I said, I looked at the couple and I said, hold your breath, 1, 2, 3. And Peter just shook the tree. And then that's what happened. Again, just a 80 at the back, 8200 at the back, with no diffusion. That's just a bare bulb, shooting directly at the couple. This is again just reception. This was a rainy day, but not as rainy as some other days that we've experienced. We had nothing but this little four-wall corridor, not corridor, almost like a foyer area that we had to shoot this couple's how could I say, couple portraits, and this is just an 8200 shooting directly at them. But because it's so well lit inside and there's so many white walls, that beautiful 80 casted a light from the front, so that's where the front light's coming from over there. I just closed the door to give them a little bit more direction for the eye to lead towards the couple in the middle. This again, I've got a wider shot over here so that you can see I'm outside in the rain, the couple's on the inside. And again, this is just an 80-200 at the back. And because there's a white wall, it then reflects off the white wall to give her a beautiful light from the front. And that's that one there as well. This was after, this was also just before the reception. But of course, it was like super dark at this time already. This is the 80 bouncing off a wall to my right to give them a cast from the right, from a light from the right over here. Dancing, dancing, dancing. This was with night shooting on our side. We usually ask the couple if they would be interested in doing something like that. Because it's always for us, I don't want to break that flow. And once a client is having fun and dancing and, enjoying time with the guests, I don't want to take them away unless they are giving, gave me permission to do so prior. So this couple was super keen. They given us permission, and that's the reception at the back. Again, I wanted to just show off what's in the area, what's at the venue. There was a little bonfire going. This is again just an AD at the back with I think we had the M1 in the front,
yes.
Not the LC. So this little small little McGaffey gave them quite a bit of light from the front. And that's just a closer look on that one. That's reception. This is the rainiest I think we've had ever in the 6 years that we've done photography. This is as much rain as what we've experienced. We had a wonderful videographer that had that little umbrella, and that's actually a see-through umbrella, so it's not reflective at all. But I don't know if you can just imagine this. So Peter is actually behind the camera, behind the couple, and he's holding his jacket over an 8200, crunched down on his like op sy hurke, and he's literally covered. His feet, his socks, his shoes, everything is in a puddle of water.
Oh,
And he's been drenched with rain at the back there. But I think this is one of the, I think one of my most favorite shots that I've ever taken. Sometimes it takes a little bit of encouragement for to convince the client that this is something that would actually look beautiful, and the client actually loved it. So big ups to the client. Love you guys. That's another version of that. So again, as we explained earlier on, there's a light at the back, and that just bounces up to reflect back on them to create a beautiful light on their faces. Dancing, some sparklers, and I think that's it. Yeah.
Brilliant work.
Sorry, did you your white balance on that? How did you do your white balance on those particular shots? Was it manual? Was it on Kelvin? How do you guys normally?
Oh yeah. So my funny enough, on my Sony, I actually put it under the best one for me is usually Calvin. But when I'm outdoors, I feel like there's a white balance icon thingy on the Sony that's actually for underwater shooting, and that works perfectly for me because I love shooting a little bit more cooler. And then in post, I will warm it up to my liking because the first thing that I go to is skin tone. I focus on skin tone and making sure that nobody looks too orange or too yellow or too red. And that underwater white balance feature, it looks like a fish, worked absolutely perfect. But I did do research. I think it is anywhere from around 4,200 to 5,000 Kelvin.
Cool. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Right, let me just see where's Mosa. Let me just bring up the images, my man. Let me just see where they are. Here we go. You're on, Mosa?
Yes, Trompie. Okay, with this image, I took one of the groomsmen with a lady he was with because I wanted to convince the couple that I want to shoot them an image at this area. So I took this image and I started to also figure out how I can do the night shot, how I can frame it all together for the couple. Then I got some pictures for the two of them. Then after that, I went to the couple and said, you know what, I want to shoot you a picture at this area here before we leave for the night. So the next picture was the couple.
Great. Let me just see. We've got another great one here from you. Hang on. It's loading. There we go.
Stunning.
Nice.
You can see the stars.
Yeah, so this is like the same area.
I hope that's not your sensor that's that dirty. I hope it stars.
Sorry?
I hope it's not your sensor that's that dirty. Is it stars?
Yeah, it's stars. So, so what I did here, I had an idea of having them kissing under the stars, and I couldn't do the astronomy shots on camera. So I decided, okay, in post, when I went to post, I decided, okay, I'm gonna add a bit of stars in Photoshop. So, which is what I did there. The image was without them, then I added them, and I loved the lighting that was going on the ground and the way it was structuring all together. It's sort of 4 lines. The other one is not as bright. I had to actually brighten it a bit in post. So because when the light hits them from behind, there were those 2 poles on the left and right next to the couple, and they were sort of causing the lighting to go like that in front of the couple and also on the other sides. So I just loved how the light disperses around the area, and then there's the couple being in the center, and an idea of stars above them.
Great. So Mosa, did you use your 8100 here?
Here I use the 8600.
8600, okay.
Yes.
Let me just see if we've got something else here for you. Just 1 second. There's another night shot here, I think. I love these, Mosa. They're brilliant.
Very nice.
Explain to us what you did there, and I'm glad you got the Steve Maidens.
Steve Maiden. I should get paid for this, maybe. Yeah. So with this one, it was the night before the wedding, and we were lodging in the same the same place as the couple. So they had everything in place, organized. They had the rings, they had the shoes together in one place for us to shoot. And we said, why not save time and shoot them tonight, and then tomorrow just focus on other things. Then we took them and used gel lights. We were using the 8200, and I think the other speed light was the 685, something like that. Yes, yeah, the 685 Gorok speed light as well. So we had 2 lights. The other one we gelled it at the back to give that flare at the top right corner. And then on the table, because the table was a bit favoring us in terms of water, we had to do some water splashes behind the shoes to create those sparkles. Yeah. And yeah, so here it was with blue gels and orange gels. If you can look at the shoes, they are a bit bluish in color.
Well, I love that. That's brilliant. That's brilliantly done.
Yeah.
Very stylish. Let me see what we've got here. Ring shot as well. And you use basically the same lighting here, Mosa?
Yeah, it's the same lighting here. I believe there's still a bit of blue visible there.
Yes.
And then we're using a macro lens adapter to get closer to get a close up look of the rings. If you see the line there, this was shot at around maybe f2.0, around about there.
Okay. And then the last one I have of you. This is beautiful.
Wow.
Ooh, that's
Done on this, amazing.
Yeah, so it's the same concept on the shoes, and then water dripping on top of the cologne. If you can see there at the bottom of the bottle, there's just water splashing. So just had to anticipate that shot and get it dropping like that.
Fantastic, thank you, Mosa.
Yeah, and I think one other thing was the box. The box light was directed specifically to the box to have a different color from the color on the bottom.
That is very well thought out. It makes such a difference, just those contrasting colors. It's amazing.
Those things, yeah.
Right, guys. So I'm just gonna share something from me. Now I've got to come here with my average shots after all these great ones. Where are we? Okay, guys. So in terms of lighting, let me where am I in my life? Sorry, 1 second. Just bring it up. Okay. Right. Guys, in terms of the portrait lighting, the night portraits for me, I use 2 lights. My backlight is always a speed light. Speed light, the 8200, which is gel blue or orange, depending on what I need. Obviously controlled by the trigger on camera, so I can change the intensity of the light. And then for my front light, I use the Godox ice light. The reason why I use as my key light an LED is because it's quick and it's easy. So what you see is what you get. At the end of the night, I don't want to struggle with speed lights and getting the power down enough, stuff like that. I want to make this quick and easy on the couple as well. Again, like Lood also said, they want to get back to partying. So, that combination of a speed light at the back, do you have enough power to light the background? And then the LED, the Godox ice light to light the couple at the front. So obviously I've got my assistant there with the light on the stick, as you can see there. His stick just gets longer and longer because I keep having to edit him out. So
that's me normally.
That's you. And again, there, guys. So I'm always looking for the night portraits. I'm looking to shoot through stuff and to light up the background. So even over here, I've got a 8200 at the back, shooting through the water, just lighting up that water, and then the ice light at the front to just light the couple. Let me just run through a few quickly. That's average. There's another one there. And then it also makes it easier, guys, if the location is a little bit hard to work with. So over here, this guy's on the second floor. Okay, I've got to get him lit from this side. So with an LED, I've got my assistant hanging from the third floor through a window to light the group there. And obviously inside, I've got the speed light, the 8200. I keep saying speed light, and I don't have a speed light. I light up the background behind him. Okay. So I do believe that an LED is crucial for night type stuff. It makes it so much easier. Let me just see if there's something else. Let me use this one. So over there as well, guys. I've actually got the 8200 outside the church at the back, lighting up that blue window, and then you can see my assistant hanging out there again, and then me struggling for 2 minutes to edit him out. Let me just see, and there's the finished picture. Let me just see, where's that other one I wanted to show. And stuff like that as well, especially at night, guys. With what I find is what I like about the night photography is that you can take a location that looks totally different in the day, and once you go at night and you put a light, a backlight in there, it just transforms the entire scene. So something like this, which is it's got some columns there, but as soon as you light it up from the back, it just brings a different dimension to that specific location. And yes, that is from me. So guys, anything else you would like to first of all, the guys watching, is there any questions you may have? We're gonna give you guys 5 minutes while we wrap up. If there's any questions, please let us know, and then let us wrap up. Is there anything else you guys would like to share? Lood?
Yeah. You know what? I have to be honest. I think since I switched over to Godox, it made a lot of things so much easier. Especially if you think about all the adapters, the trigger size, just the availability of everything. I mean, there's like constant light, there's flashes, if you want to do high-speed sync stuff, it's there. If you want to do like the ice lights and that fancy little MacGyver thingy that these guys have, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. But it just made things so much easier for us, just because everything communicates with each other, with ease, and it's not a trigger upon a trigger and stuck another trigger on top of it to make everything work together. And the battery life on those things are just flipping amazing. It's like I'll easily go with 2 or 3 weddings with my 8200s, easily.
Yeah.
Before you have to recharge them. So I mean, I've done a corporate shoot today, the entire day, everything, the whole day, and they still full. They didn't even drop a bar.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is important, is that you're buying into an ecosystem. So you can go down from the entry level speed light to a 1200 or a 600, and they all talk to each other. So it's a complete ecosystem. And you're never gonna have something that can't talk to the other thing. And having Godox in country where you can actually drive to them and say, listen, help me with this, have a look at this, it's great.
It changed my life totally. So woohoo!
And sorry, yes.
Sorry, I just want to answer Ilana. Yeah, Ilana. I always use gels. It just depends on what color I want it to look, what look I'm going for. It would either be blue or it would be orange. Okay, let's wrap up. Mosa, let's have you. Anything from you, Mosa?
I just saw somebody asked a question about the water splash, whether it was in Photoshop or it was natural. Let me add and say it was a natural splash. There was an assistant shooting together with me, and he was splashing water on the other side. So we kept on splashing until we get the shots that we needed.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
And Mosa, to close out, anything?
Well, I'm very inspired by every one of you. Your styles being different altogether and all amazing. It's very encouraging to see how much unlimited we are as photographers when we're in the wedding environment out there. You can tell that there's always something great that we can do in the wedding environment. I'm sure even the people that are watching today can see that there is something that they can produce from within them, from what they see with their eyes, and produce it and get to visualize it and create it in the camera. Yeah, it's a very inspiring thing to see today.
Thank you, Mosa. Just to answer you, do you guys offer training for upcoming photographers? So please keep an eye on the Godox SA page, because Godox has a lot of these type of sessions, even sessions in person, that is free to attend. So make sure that you subscribe to Godox SA and keep an eye out for any of the upcoming training and workshops that's there. And then also the photographers that's on here. I know most of us also do offer training. So go and have a look at the photographers that you've just seen social media pages, and I'm sure it'll be up there what training they offer. Carla.
So I just want to close off by saying I love the Godox brand. I've been shooting with the brand for 4 years, and I've never had the urgency to go back to another brand. As Lood said, everything works together. The whole community is so inspiring. The brand influencers and ambassadors are so helpful. The whole team at Godox is so helpful. I mean, if something goes wrong with your equipment, you just pop it onto your nearest store, like an outdoor photo, or you actually go there and they can actually help you fix it. And yeah, they are just super helpful and the most amazing brand that I've ever seen.
Thank you, Carla. And let's close with the Bosmans.
I think the one thing that we could add is the fact that with photography, and especially with wedding photography, with everything that happens so quickly and so fast, and you can't, within a blink of an eye, the next thing that you need to run to. Godox has really simplified everything for us to make it easy for us and convenient for us to just grab and go, whether it be an LED or whether it be a flash or interchanging in between modifiers. It really does help with convenience, and that's the one thing that we as photographers, and I'm sure every one of you can contest to this, is that we really need that backup. We can't be carrying around like millions of gears every day or on a wedding day. So the fact that it's just so convenient really does help and adds to a lot. Maybe you wanna add something?
No, I just wanted to add to that. We always try and keep our footprint as small as possible on a wedding day, so we're not in the way. And the Godox system has just made it so easy for us to have our footprint so small that nobody takes note of us, so we can capture moments that we're not seeing, and that people can just act natural in those moments, especially in receptions.
Yeah, just to add to that documentary style, we don't want to be seen, but we want to see you smile, laugh, giggle, take a shot, whatever. We want to see you do it rather than us being seen. So yeah, thanks, Godox. Love you guys.
Guys, thank you for joining in. The influencers have done a lot of punting for Godox XA. They're probably expecting some discount.
It wouldn't be bad.
But thank you for you guys, for our influencers tonight. It was brilliant. It's inspiring for me as well. I'm an old dog in this fight, and it's been great to see you guys. Thank you for the guys joining in, and then thank you so much, GoDocs, for creating this platform for everyone to learn from. And we'll see you at the next one. Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.